stuck? Are you broke? If so, why? Why haven't you made any changes to live the life you want? It all comes from your daily habits, your routines, your thoughts, your actions. What's cool is that all of this can be changed quicker and easier than you think. Follow the steps mapped out in the habit formula and start to change your life today. Go to thehabitformula.com for more information.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I help people change their bad habits. When you change your habits, you change your life. So today is Mommy Monday, and we're going to be talking about your child's creativity and 5 ways you can foster it. You can explode it. You can nurture it so that it can grow and extend into your child's adult life. So before we get started though, I want to remind you, if you guys are doing your envelope system and you're saving for Christmas, put your $60 in, right? We're trying to get to 1,000 before Black Friday. We're up to $480. So we're not talking, chump change today. This weekend, my son told me he wanted to have something. He wrote out his Christmas list already. It's kind of early, but whatever. And I'm sure he'll add to it. But I went ahead and I found a deal on something. And so I had the money for it. I just swiped it out of my envelope at home. Paid for, done, no problem. So if you're not doing it, we're going to start earlier next year so it'll be less money. But right now, $60 a week will get you to 1,000 by Black Friday. So remember, do your envelope system. If you're just starting now, just start putting something away so that you don't have to put everything on a credit card and start 2020 in the hole. Nobody wants to do that, right? Another thing is, if you guys haven't already, check out my free book. It's called The Habit Formula, Life Success Equation. If you want to learn how to change your bad habits, which is what this show is all about. It's about your mindset. It's about following a certain type of action to get you the results you want. There really is a formula. So go ahead, go to thehabitformulabook.com and download your free copy today. If you really want to dive into this material, upgrade your order, okay? Prices go up on Friday again. So make sure if you are interested in taking one of the courses, upgrade your order now because prices go up on Friday. So today is creativity, how to foster that in your children. And, remember when we were kids, right? And you used to play all the time and, be imaginative with very simple objects. You had your Tinker Toys, but you could build an entire city. You had your Lego blocks. Back in the day, back in the 80s, they were just simple blocks, right? But you had to be creative and you could build a castle, you could build a fire station, you could build, anything you wanted, but it was a lot more simpler, a lot more blocky, that kind of thing. And we had to use our imagination. Now, especially Legos, they're sets that really look like a spaceship or a fire station or, a princess castle kind of thing. But back in the day, you had to use your creativity to imagine what it would look like, okay? What we're going to do is learn 5 ways that we can encourage imagination for our children. As they get to be at the age where they're in school, they're encouraged to be more logical, use their reasoning skills. They're learning math, they're learning science, they're learning how to write and, the structure of writing and spelling and, all of the more conscious logical type skills that we all need as human beings. We need to be able to communicate. We need to learn how to do simple math and, all of that stuff, and read and write and that kind of thing. But what it also does is, as they get older, the creativity, the thinking out of the box, the imagination resources that we all have starting out as children kind of start being put, at bay, so that the logical reasoning type skill sets come to the forefront. And as parents, as I know myself, I want to encourage this creativity. I want my child to be able to think out of the box and not follow the herd when it comes to problem solving and, thinking of new things in the marketplace, because that will get him so much further if I can help foster and nurture that little creative side of him. I know over the weekend, he brought his Chromebook home from school and he's like, Mom, I'm starting to write a story. And it's about Noah and this alien people, right? And I'm like, well, that's awesome. I'm like, let's write a little bit. I go, don't write it and force it if you don't feel it. So if you're feeling like it, write a page or two, right? And I'm like, afterwards, we'll use your drawing skills, because he loves to draw and paint and that. I'm like, let's do some watercolors. I'll scan it, and we'll publish yourself a book. I already know how to do it. Hello, have it for me. This is my third book. I got a fourth one that I'm, finishing up now. It's not hard to do. You just have to be disciplined to work on it when the creativity strikes, okay? So I was reading online of how could I foster and nurture creativity in my child. And I was reading an article from the Greater Good magazine. And they were talking about how most people think that creative people, imaginative people, they are just born that way, right? Oh, those people, they know how to draw, they know how to, do that. They're just creative. They know how to play the piano. They know how to, be artsy-fartsy and draw and paint real well and all of that. The fact of the matter is that everyone starts out with a certain level of creativity and imagination. And it's usually on a childlike level. But to actually develop that into something that, not everybody has, you actually have to nurture it and to build on that creativity as a foundation and build it as a skill set. So, you think that you're, talented in music, for example. Some people can listen to music and then just start doing it, right? But for them to be successful, for them to be able to communicate their music with other people. Maybe they want to start a band. Maybe they want to write their own music. They need to learn how to read and write it. Correct? That takes a teacher. That takes a mentor. That takes skill sets to be developed. And that takes time to do that. So, don't think that everyone starts out, oh, well, they're just more creative than I am. That is not true at all. I myself have found that, I love to write, but I've also had to develop that skill set. I've had to learn that, through the editing process from other people that, have studied English grammar and, writing as a skill set. I've had to learn how to communicate more effectively in my writing skills. And that's a complete skill set that I've had to learn. Creativity in your children is also the same thing. It's a skill set. It's something that you have to build on. So we're going to talk about 5 ways that we can nurture that so that they can build on it as they mature and as they find out, what area of life they want to develop and go into. Do they want to be a writer? Do they want to be a reporter? Do they want to go into medicine or science or maybe engineering? All of that stuff takes tremendous creativity, but you might not think about it as being creative. You might think about it as, well, they study for a long time in school and there's certain, skills that they develop, physics and drafting and laboratory experiments and, all of that. That is true, but it all stems from their creativity, from their divergent thoughts and thinking ability to think out of the box. And that's where it all starts. So we want, as parents, to help to foster it and nurture it and bring it along. Think of it. So creativity can lead to sales negotiation success, to running a successful small business, right? As a small business owner, I can tell you, you have to be creative with the resources, your time, your money, your energy. When you're not a big corporation, how do you get your marketing out there? You have to do free things like social media. You have to, ask for referrals from current patients. Word of mouth is the best and cheapest form of marketing out there. You got to be creative with stuff. You got to help them leave you a 5-star Google review. You got to think out of the box. Think of things that, big corporations do, but you got to do it on a small budget, right? And that's where creativity comes into play. Maybe you're leading a team that solves the company's problems, or better yet, you're trying to think of solutions to customers' problems or non-customers that you want to become customers. There's only 2 things you can offer your customers or non-customers is 1, a product to solve their problem, or 2, a service to solve their problem. How can you solve their problems? That's where your ingenuity, your creativity comes into play. And that's something that if we nurture it when we're young, think of the possibilities, the layers of complexity that it can build on itself as your child develops into adulthood. Another thing that they found was creativity is essential for science, for math, for social and emotional intelligence. And creative people are more flexible and better problem solvers. They're able to adapt and take advantage of new opportunities. And that's what success is. Being able to be flexible and to adapt at what the marketplace is giving you, and to find new opportunities of problems and services and products that it can go out into the marketplace and help people, right? Because that's what it's all about. So let's start with the 5 ways. Number 1, you got to provide time. Everyone has to have a schedule, right? For us to get anything done, especially being a mom. You got to have a schedule. So you have soccer practice or soccer game from, 4 to 5. Excuse me. From 4 to 5. Then you got to have dinner at some point, right? So you have dinner plans. Then it's homework time, right? You need at least an hour for homework, right? Where is there time that your child can kind of have some quiet, that there's nothing that is being forced on them or expected of them, that they can just sit and be imaginative, whether they're just playing, okay, they're playing with blocks, they're coloring, maybe they're writing a little story or, coming up with, something. Maybe they're playing Minecraft. Minecraft is a wonderful game. I don't want to do it as an adult. That's just not something I want to do, but I understand why children like it. I understand why my son loves it. And to see all the things that he can come up with, it is amazing. He's very detail oriented on his little cities and his little worlds that he makes up. He always makes a little spot for me to be at and incorporates things that we like and that he likes, and he's creative in it. And I just love the imagination that he expresses through Minecraft. So give them a little time. Hey, why don't you go and play your video game, or let's play a board game and see how they navigate through all the rules of the game and see who wins, kind of thing. You need to give them time to be creative. A little bit of time every day to chill out, be a kid, be creative, be imaginative, and have some fun, because you want that time to also be scheduled when they're adults so that they can, build on those foundations and those layers. Number 2 is you got to have some space. Is there a place for them to, practice on the piano? Is there a place in your house that, they can spread out their blocks and create something, create a house or a little city or something like that? You have to give them a little bit of space, a little bit of room so that, they feel comfortable. If they make a mess, that's okay. We might leave it for a day or two and then clean it up or whatever, but you got to give them a little space and a little time to express that creativity, to let them see where it leads them, right? Number 3, allow freedom to explore ideas. So I'm just going to write freedom. For expression. What we mean by that is it's okay if they fail at something. Okay? They have an idea. They want to try to put together this little doohickey thingy. Okay? My son was putting together, he was taking balloons that he had broken apart because this little balloon hat that this guy made him at the restaurant was starting to deflate, right? And I said, well, let's just get rid of it. He thought of some idea to make this little like stretchy band thing using the old balloons, and he was taping stuff and stapling stuff and nothing was working, and I was trying to help him. I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to accomplish, but I gave him the space. I'm like, go see what you can do. Here's some tape, here's a stapler, see what you can create, okay? Give him the freedom to do that. Oh, that's a dumb idea. What are you wasting your time for? That's not what we're talking about here. Who cares if they fail at it? Who cares if it doesn't turn out right? They're kids, right? Who cares if it doesn't turn out, let's say that they're doing an art project and what should be a bowl is leaking all over the place and you can't even use it as a bowl, right? Freaking cares? They tried. Maybe they're just not that gifted. Maybe they need more attention or more lessons on how to form a bowl, right? Give them the freedom to express themselves, to express their creativity. Let them color. Even if they're coloring out of the lines, who cares? Don't enforce your adult expectations onto your child. Let them be free to do whatever they want. You never know what it could come up with, especially when they get older as teenagers and young adults. They could have an idea that they thought of when they were a kid and they didn't quite know how to express it or make it into fruition, make it a reality. But then all of a sudden, because they've been creative all along, they take that idea and they actually make it into a product or service that everybody uses. You don't know what it can do. Don't stifle their freedom. Let them fail. Let them create things. See what happens. You never know. Number 4, you're encouraging, I'll just put think out of the box. This is also called divergent thinking. So convergent thinking means that there are set parameters. You can only get this result when you do it this way. When you think divergently, think that you're diverging into the cosmos, right? You don't know what kind of ideas are out there. When you're thinking divergently, you're thinking out of the box. You're not coming up with a solution to the problem as everybody else does, right? And you should encourage your child. Okay, we got to make the bed. Well, can you make the bed, hopping on one leg? Can you make the bed by crawling on the bed and pulling the covers up? Think of different ways. A, it's fun because then they're not bored. But B, they might come up with a cool thing or a cool idea that you never thought of as an adult that maybe you can explore and turn into reality, right? Think out of the box. Get them out of their routine a little bit and let them have some fun. Let them express their creativity. And like I said, it could help you. You should do the same thing. All of these things are things that we as adults can do too. We tend to get out of our creative activities as we get older because there's so much demand of our time, our money, and our resources that we do not try to focus on being creative, of trying to think of different things that our company can bring to the market that, could increase our bottom line, could help a lot of people in the meantime, right? You can do all 4 of these things, and we'll do the 5th one right now. The 5th one is perfection. And basically, you need to get rid of it. Don't worry about the bowl if it doesn't, hold water. Who cares? It's a kid. They made it for you. They made it out of love. They made it because they were having fun in art class. Get rid of the perfectionism stereotype because it doesn't work. Nobody's going to be perfect, especially your child. They're just starting out in things, right? We need to be able to explore the creativity on something. If something doesn't work out, let's say they play a sport and they're coming up with all kinds of creative ways to get, the action done, but nothing seems to be working. Who cares, right? They're kids. Give them the freedom to think out of the box, to express themselves, the space, the time to try to be as creative as possible. Don't put an adult spin on their art project. Allow them to express their talent the way that they want to. If they want to go to school dressed up as a princess, let them do it. My son, I think for an entire year he was 4, for the entire year, he dressed up in one of his costumes. My husband actually even made up a Ninja Turtle costume. He was watching a Ninja Turtle movie. It wasn't around Halloween time when we could actually buy a costume. So he made out of his pajamas and out of cardboard and construction paper a Ninja Turtle outfit. And he wore that for an entire 2 weeks every day. We would, wash the clothes part and just carefully tape back up all of his, masks and such. And he wore that for about 2 weeks, and then he was on to something different. I didn't care. The director of the daycare just thought that was cute, and I was like, hey, that's what he wants to do. Who am I to judge that? Who am I to tell him no, right? It's not hurting anybody. He feels confident when he's dressed that way. He feels imaginative and wants to be the Ninja Turtles. Let him be creative. I gave him space. I gave him time. I gave him freedom of expression. And that's what it's all about. We have to guide our kids in a certain direction, right? Because we want them to be productive adults. But in the same way, we don't want to stifle the creative side, the side that doesn't get a lot of attention as we get older, as we become adults. We're usually more focused on the knowledge side, the logical side, the reasoning conscious side. We need to be able to have both for us to live a fulfilled and fun life. You want to be fun, you want to have fun, you want to travel, you want to do things. You got to be creative. Sometimes things don't work out the way you think they are, especially as an adult, right? You have to be creative. You have to be thinking out of the box, flexible and adaptable to your environment. The successful people are able to be creative, to think out of the box, and to solve problems that no one else seems to be able to solve, to create products and services that help solve people's problems. And a lot of time that has to do with time, money, and energy, which are the 3 main resources that everyone has. Encourage your child to continue being creative, to continue thinking out of the box, and I'm telling you, it's just going to make such a difference when they are adults. The things that they will create during their life, you will be amazed. So I hope this helps everybody. Let's go back through the 5 ways to foster creativity in your child, because we don't want it to go bye-bye as they're an adult, okay? Number 1 is time. You have to give them the time to be creative, to play. Children need to play, to use their imagination, to pretend like they're the princess, to pretend like they're the famous baseball player. They need time to pretend and to use their creativity and imagination. Number 2, they need space to do that. So if you don't have a big backyard and they want to, pretend like they are Babe Ruth or something, pick a baseball person nowadays, Francisco Lindor, right, for the Indians. Take them to the park, take them to a ball field that's not being used, and let them play for a little bit. Play with them, have some friends, bring some neighbors, try to get a little scrap game together. Let them use their imagination and pretend like they're the hero, like they just hit the grand slam and won the World Series, because you never know where those dreams could lead to. They could come true. They could affect other people in the future, and it's really exciting to think about that. Number 3 is freedom for expression. Allow them, if they have a crazy idea, let them see how it works out. If they fail at it, if what they're trying to make doesn't turn out, who cares? Let them, think of another route. Let them, try again. You can help them say, hey, maybe if we try this, this will work. You never know what your kid's going to come up with, especially when they're getting to be a little bit older. They're getting to be a teenager. They're getting to be in their early 20s. They're in college. You don't know where that creativity you don't know when the next Facebook, the next, iPhone, the next whatever. Those people came up with ideas that were creative and solved people's problems. And if you foster their creativity, their imagination, you never know where it's going to go. Number 4 is think out of the box. Use your imagination. Give them space so that they can express what they want to express. Don't say that, hey, there's only one solution and one way of doing that. I know a lot of people that it has to be done this way. Well, guess what? There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, right? That's the old saying. Let them express what they want to express. Let them try things. If it doesn't work, you can kind of guide them and help them to make it happen. But let them think out of the box. They might come up with a way that maybe your company could use and increase the bottom line. You never know. It could come from a child. You never know. And the last one is try not to be perfect about anything. Perfection is something that is just a waste of time. Nothing's ever going to be perfected. And no one is perfect. So get rid of the expectation that whatever they think of or do is going to come out perfectly. They're kids. Give them the freedom to fail, to have things break, and then help them. Help them maybe make it better. Give them other ideas of how they can solve their problems, and let them come up with different ways of doing it. So these are 5 ways to foster creativity in your children. Make sure that we're fostering it, we're nurturing it. It's just like a little plant. You got to give it a little food and a little water every day for it to grow into something big. Creativity will do that. It will build more and more complex layers as your child matures into adulthood, and you never know where that could lead. So make sure we're fostering that creativity, we're nurturing it, and we're allowing it to just get crazy and be that crazy plant, like in what was that movie with Steve Martin, where Little Shop of Horrors, where he's like, feed me, feed me. Let the creativity go wild and let it feed your child, okay? Remember, you can check out the Habit Master YouTube channel. Go to the Habit Master and subscribe. I uploaded 2 new videos on mindset this past weekend, so check it out. And they're short videos, they're just less than 5 minutes. And also, if you want to listen to the Habit Lunchtime with the Habit Master shows, you can on Spotify and iTunes. Just look for Lunchtime with the Habit Master shows so you don't miss any episodes. Also, grab a book. It's called The Habit Formula at thehabitformulabook.com. And remember, we want to build good habits together. I'll see you guys tomorrow.